Dear students, great day. Let us start our session with Civics, Unit 4, Human Rights and UNO. In this session, we are going to learn about human rights, the relationship between rights and responsibilities, the importance of human rights, the meaning and significance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Everybody is born equal. Human rights are related to individuals and society. Human rights denotes all those rights that are inherent and ensure that we live as free people and exercise our choice. The state's role is to ensure that people have equal rights. What are human rights? Human rights are rights inherent to all human beings regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, and religion. Human rights include freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, and fair trial, the right to life, work, and education. Where do human rights come from? A set of basic rights and freedoms has deep roots in European and American countries like written precursors of human rights documents, the birth of United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is UDHR. Written precursors of human rights documents. The Magna Carta of 1215, England, gave people new rights and made the king subject to the law. The Petition of Right, 1628, England, set out the rights of the people. The Habeas Corpus Act of 1679, England, an act for the better securing liberty of the subject. The English Bill of Rights of 1689 set out certain basic civil rights. The French Declaration on the Rights of Man and Citizen 1789, a document of France stating that all citizens are equal under the law. The US Constitution and Bill of Rights 1791 safeguards the rights of the citizens. The birth of United Nations. The idea of human rights emerged stronger after the Second World War. This war led to unimaginable violation of human rights. During the times of war, human lives lost its value and those affected by war had to struggle till the end of their life. The rights of man were prevented or eliminated in several parts of the world due to several factors. People wanted to ensure that never again would anyone be unjustly denied life, freedom, food, shelter, and nationality. These voices played a critical role in the San Francisco meeting in which the United Nations Charter was drafted in 1945. At this juncture, an international body, the United Nations Organization, that is UNO, which was established on 24th October 1945, took up the issue. Human rights is an important theme in all UN policies and programs in the areas of peace and security, development, humanitarian assistance, and economic and social affairs. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR. The UN established a Commission on Human Rights. The commission, guided by Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of former US President Franklin D. Roosevelt, forceful leadership captured the world's attention. Finally, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1948. It is a milestone document in the history of human rights. The declaration was proclaimed by the UN General Assembly in Paris, France on 10th December 1948. in remembrance of every year 10th December is observed as Human Rights Day, and its regular observance commenced from 1950. It is also known as Modern International Magna Carta of Human Rights. The Cyrus cylinder, 539 BC. Cyrus the Great, the first king of ancient Persia, freed the slaves and declared that all people had the right to choose their own religion and established racial equality. These and other decrees were recorded on a packed clay cylinder in the Akkadian language in cuneiform script. It is translated into all 6 official languages of the United Nations. Human rights are based on the values of dignity, justice, and equality. Dignity: the right to life, the right to integrity, the prohibition of enforced labor, slavery, and degrading punishment. Justice: the right to fair trial, proportional punishment to crime, the right not to be trialed more than once for the same crime. Equality: equality before law, no discrimination on race, religion, gender, age, ability, or disability, etc. Basic characteristics of human rights. Inherent: they are not granted by any person or authority. Fundamental: they are fundamental rights because without them the life and dignity of man will be meaningless. Inalienable: they cannot be taken away from the individual. Indivisible: they cannot be denied even when other rights have already been enjoyed. Universal: they are universal. They apply irrespective of one's origin or status. They are enforceable without national border. Interdependent: they are interdependent because the fulfillment or exercise of one human right cannot be had without the realization of the other. Kinds of human rights. There are 30 articles incorporated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These rights are broadly classified into 5 primary categories. They are as follows: civil rights, political rights, social rights, economic rights, and cultural rights. Civil rights. The term civil rights refers to the basic rights afforded by laws of the government to every person. This is the right to be treated as equal to anyone else. It includes the rights to life, liberty, freedom from slavery, and arbitrary arrest. Political rights. Political rights are exercised in the formation and administration of a government. The civil and political rights are directly related to modern democracy. They protect the individual from the misuse of political power and recognize every individual's right to participate in their country's political process. It includes the freedom of expression and peaceful assembly, the right to take part in the government of one's country, the right to vote, the freedom of speech and obtain information. Social rights. It is necessary for an individual to fully participate in the society. Social rights are those rights necessary for an adequate standard of living, including the right to education, health, care, food, clothing, shelter, and social security. Economic rights. The right to participate in an economy that benefits all. Economic rights guarantee every person to have conditions under which they are able to meet their needs. This includes the rights to employment and fair wage, the reasonable limitation of working hours, shelter, education, and adequate standard of living, and the right to property. Cultural rights. The right to freedom of religion and to speak the language and to practice the cultural life of the community, the right to share in scientific advancement, and right to the protection of moral and material interest, and freedom to participate in cultural activities. Difference between human rights and civil rights. Human rights. Human rights belong to everyone, everywhere, regardless of nationality, sexuality, gender, race, religion, or age. Human rights are considered universal to all human beings and universal in all countries. No nation may rightfully deprive human rights from an individual. Human rights are basic rights inherent with birth. Civil rights. Civil rights are those rights that one enjoys by virtue of citizenship in a particular nation or state. Civil rights vary greatly from country to countries or government to government. It is related to the constitution. Different nations can grant or deny different civil rights and liberties. Civil rights are creation of the society. Human Rights Commission. The Economic and Social Council, a principal organ of the United Nations, was empowered to set up a commission for the promotion of human rights. National level and state level human rights commissions were established to ensure the protection of human rights. National Human Rights Commission. The National Human Rights Commission of India was established on 12 October 1993. Its headquarters is located in New Delhi. NHRC is a multi-member body which consists of a chairperson and other members. The president appoints the chairperson and other members. They are appointed for 5 years or till the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. NHRC has 5 divisions: Law Division, Investigation Division, Policy Research and Programs Division, Training Division and Administrative Division. The National Human Rights Commission is responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights in India. State Human Rights Commission. The State Human Rights Commission of Tamil Nadu was formed on 17th April 1997. It functions at the state level. It consists of 3 members including a chairperson. A State Human Rights Commission can inquire into violation of human rights related to subjects covered under state list and concurrent list in the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Human rights organizations. Many organizations around the world have taken their efforts to protect human rights and for ending human rights abuses. These non-governmental organizations monitor the actions of governments and pressure them to act according to human rights principles. Some of these organizations are Amnesty International, Children's Defense Fund, and Human Rights Watch. Child rights. A child means every human being below the age of 18 years. The Convention on the Rights of the Child was proclaimed by UN on 20th November 1989. The child is considered as an important national asset. The future of the nation depends on how its children mature and develop. There are laws in India protecting the rights of the children. Protecting the rights of the children. Right to Education Act. Article 21A provides that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children aged 6 to 14 years. The Child Labour Act, Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. It provides no children who has not completed 15 years of age can be employed. The Juvenile Justice Act 2000, Care and Protection of Children. This act tries to protect children deprived of adequate care and to reform the children by adopting children-friendly approach. POCSO Act 2012 Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act records the best interest of the child as being paramount importance in every state. 1098 Childline. This is the India's first 24 hours free emergency phone service for children in need of assistance. Special care is given for vulnerable children, those affected by child labor, child marriage, and children affected by any abuse. Women rights. Women and girls' rights are human rights. Women are entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of all of their human rights and to be free from all forms of discrimination. This is fundamental to achieve human rights, peace, and security and sustainable development. The Charter of the United Nations guarantees equal rights to both women and men. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, adopted in 1979 by the UN General Assembly, is described as an international bill of rights for women. The United Nations Development Fund for Women has worked since 1995 to implement the Beijing Platform for Action. Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act 2007. This act makes it legal obligation for children and has to provide maintenance to senior citizens and parents. Legislation and provisions. The Hindu Widow Remarriage Act 1856 legalized widow remarriage. The Hindu Marriage Act 1955 states that the marriageable age for women is 21. The Hindu Succession Act 1956 ensures the right to women to inherit their parental property. The Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 provides drastic punishments for those ill-treating the bride in the name of dowry. The Eve-Teasing Act 1997 gives relief to women. Indecent Representation Act 1999 prohibits the indecent representation of women in magazines, newspapers, etc. The Factory Act 1948, the Plantation Labor Act 1951, the Mines Act 1952, the Maternity Benefit Act 1961 protects the women workers. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 protects women from harassment by husband and family members. Conclusion. Human rights are about equality and fairness for everyone, and it ensures that everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The protection of human rights is everyone's responsibility, and understanding and respect for human rights provides the foundation for peace, harmony, security, and freedom in our community. In this session, we learned about human rights, relationship between rights and responsibilities, the importance of human rights, the meaning and significance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Thank you.